Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm joined by Jay Curtin from Australian Honey Ventures. You might also know them as Real Good Honey. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Emily. I'm from the campaign management team here at Birchal. And just before I introduce Jay formally, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from which we are beaming to you from today. So Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Eastern Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Welcome, everybody. So, as I'm sure you know, Birchal is working with Australian Honey Ventures and Real Good Honey on an upcoming crowdsourced funding offer. Well, a lot of people might be new to this and might be asking, what is crowdsourced funding or CSF? So essentially, you might know it as equity crowdfunding. It's a relatively new form of fundraising in Australia that allows startups and small businesses to raise capital from a large number of smaller or retail investors, as well as wholesale or sophisticated investors through an online platform such as Birchal. So instead of seeking funding from traditional sources such as a bank or a venture capitalist, companies can turn to the general public, often their communities, to raise money in exchange for equity in their business. So Birchal Financial Services will be the licensed intermediary for the offer. And I'd also just like to remind everybody that the information discussed in this webinar today is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as advice or a recommendation to invest. So please, I would encourage you to do your own research and always consider the offer document and general CSF risk warning before investing. If you do need any more information, you can find that over at birchal.com. Thank you for listening to that big old spiel, but today's session is essentially going to run with Jay taking the reins, taking us through a bit of a presentation, and Jay will be talking through where AHV or Real Good Honey has come from, what they're looking to do with their capital raise, and then we'll switch to a Q&A session. So if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little Q&A bubble. So if you've got any questions while Jay's speaking, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A bubble and we will answer them at the end. We're also recording today's session, so if you do need to jump off early, a recording will be sent around. So without further ado, I'll hand over to you, Jay. Please take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, actually, it could be afternoon in some parts of Australia. So good morning and good afternoon to everyone that we have online today. Just want to say thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today. We're very excited. And a very big welcome to returning investors. And it's a pleasure to meet our new potential investors that are looking to come on board. Emily, should I share my screen now? Okay, so folks, I'm going to be sharing my screen. So we've put together just a basic presentation here to make sure that I stay on track. So most of you that know me know that I love a good talk and can get off track very easy. So this will keep me on the straight and narrow. So welcome to Real Good Honey, everybody. We are a honey company with a real difference, working in an exciting space in a beautiful blue ocean where we are creating new value. So as you can see, we have a beautiful looking brand and we embody the innovation and pioneering spirit of the Australian honey industry. So we're not merely a honey company as such, but we're striving towards being a really fantastic alternative for non-antibiotic solutions. So we'll go into that a little bit more in the presentation, but just a little recap of where we've come in the last 3 years is, look, we brought the company together. We knew we had a huge opportunity here in Australia with medicinal honey. The first 12 to 18 months of the company's existence, we were heavily focused on just getting our Australian honey recognised. Because as everyone seems to think, the Manuka honey is the best in the world. And look, Manuka honey is a fantastic honey, but it is only antibacterial, whereas our ones here in Australia are both antibacterial and antifungal. So the first 18 months was quite a challenge for us as a company, and we found ourselves sitting in a jar alongside other jars of honey and really pushing that edible functional food market. Now, whilst we had some form of validation there from our consumers to show, yes, our honey is needed. It wasn't validation at a sustainable level. So another 12 months after that, we started looking at, how do we pivot this brand to find validation that is more sustainable and more high growth opportunities for the company. And that is where we got to now. So I will talk through where we're at the moment, and like some reasonable assumptions of where we're going to be in the future. And please, if you have any questions, make sure you pop them down to Emily. With these webinars, I don't know if it's normal, but I tend to get so many questions and we can't get to them, all of them, because we're on a limited time schedule. But if I don't get to your question, I will send out an email to everybody with those answers that I can't get to now. Okay, right. Okay, right when I want to. Okay, so what exactly do we do here at Real Good Honey? So look, so many people in the honey industry would argue that the market is a flooded market. Now, if we're putting our spectacles on and we're looking at this through the lens of edible honey, it is quite a flooded market. You can go into any honey company, any grocery store and see multiple brands of table honey sitting on that shelf. But when we first started this company, we never started the company to be a table honey company. We started the company to make a real impact with major health conditions all around the world. So with the innovation that we have created within our company, we are a really distinctive natural choice for people looking for alternatives to antibiotics, and people look for alternatives to antibiotics for a number of reasons. Either the antibiotics don't work anymore, there is a huge emerging issue with antibiotic resistance, and there's also people out there that just don't like taking antibiotics for whatever reason. We are shining through as an absolute powerhouse of an alternative for a lot of these antifungals and antibiotics. So we are helping people clear things from UTIs to embarrassing itchy rashes. And when I say embarrassing, I'm talking obese people with belly aprons, with major fungal infections in those areas, from front right through to the back of the butt crack, fungal infections, jock itch, crotch rot, whatever you want to call it, athlete's foot. We are specializing in the candida space and also bacterial vaginosis space. So we've got a very versatile product here that touches many people. I got an email yesterday from a gentleman, his name was Max, and he just emailed saying, I have severe folliculitis on my scalp. Folliculitis is an infection of the hair follicle that has mostly a fungal nature. And he said, whilst our honey hasn't perfectly cleared it up, it is so much better than it ever has been, despite him trying every single product on the market. And he was just reaching out to see if he was allowed, if I knew whether he could take the honey to America, because he didn't want to live without it. So this is the life-changing difference we are making in human beings all around the world. So just as a summary, we are specializing at the moment, for the foreseeable future, in genital health. Genital health is anything on the outside. So, testicles, penises. We have men with urine infections, you name it. We're dealing with the external genital area. We have skin. One of our second most common area of revenue is in tinea. So tinea of the skin can be ringworm, can be tinea of the scalp, tinea of the foot, athlete's foot, and so forth. That's our second most popular area. And then also our oral health honey. So we have a lot of people dealing with thrush, a lot of babies dealing with thrush, and people with radiation burns in their mouth that are using that honey. So as you can see, these very powerful antimicrobial honeys that are being produced in our beautiful country have the ability to cover a broad range of conditions that are covering a broad range of very large marketable markets in the world. So that's just a bit of an introduction of where we sit. And we've come a long way from 3 years ago, where we were honey in a jar, put it on the shelf next to Manuka, and just hope, that it sells. So while I'm talking about that, to give you a point of difference, a comparison, is we would sell 1 jar of honey, so 250 grams. We would sell that wholesale, and then the pharmacy in, let's just pick the UAE, they would put that on the shelf for 150 Australian dollars. We weren't getting $150, but they'd put it on the shelf, and reorders were quite slow. And I said to our team back here, guys, we need to make these reorders faster. We need to get this stuff flying off the shelf. And that was the aha moment when we realized, how do we convert a luxury, non-essential item, being a $150 jar of honey? How do we convert that to become a absolutely goddamn essential, can't live it without an item? So as soon as we switch from being an edible honey that you can put a teaspoon in your cup of tea and not actually feel any benefits inside your gut, as soon as we pivoted to actually applying the honey on the outside of your skin mixed with a bit of sorbeline cream or your preferred carrier cream, the honey started selling. It was like incredible. It was just a different positioning, and then bang, off we went. And believe it or not, prior to shifting that messaging, we really couldn't sell the medicinal honeys here in Australia because people didn't value them. People don't value them as much as the international market. But as soon as we started marketing that how good they are for your skin and your other embarrassing intimate areas, well, it was just like bang, 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 it started selling. So that's just a bit of background. Okay, so our product range, I'm going to give everybody a little sneak peek at the end of this, at what our new range looks like. Well, we have our existing ranges. What I should say is we have table honey, we have an edible active range, which is what's in the pharmacies overseas now. And late last year, we did a soft launch on our new topical collection, which is in pouches. I will show you that after. We have been invited to the range review for Coles, which is happening this month, because they're very excited about these new therapeutic pouches that we are offering, because our therapeutic pouches, I think we have 9 SKUs, or it might be 11 SKUs. Forgive me, I can't remember. We have a range of SKUs that are going to be targeting a range of conditions. And now these items that you see on your screen right now, they're all household items that, whether you're a male or female, you will recognize at least 2 or 3 of these products sitting on your screen. So the products that our honeys are going after, and we're going to shake the goddamn tree, is the Caniston, anything to do with athlete's foot creams. We have got the vaginal antifungal creams. We have all the tea tree medication for acne, anusol cream. So yes, we even have a honey for hemorrhoids and anal fissures and, anal infection. We're also targeting the natural deodorant space because our honeys have such insane killing ability for bacteria and fungus that live on your skin surface. So it essentially just eats away all of that bacteria that is responsible for producing pong under your armpits. Also, pawpaw cream and pseudo cream for baby care. Mother and baby. So mum, she goes in for labor and she tears while she's giving birth. We've probably all heard a wives' tale where the midwives say put some honey on it. So our honeys are absolutely insane, very, very high barrier against fungal infection and bacterial, as well as rapid healing. So we have it for mother. We're taking on the pawpaw cream, and we're also taking on pseudo cream for baby, because you simply rub a mixture of 50-50 of one of our particular honeys with baby's preferred skin cream, and bang, you have a very, very effective barrier and reduction to the amount of yeast growing on baby's nappy area. And the other exciting one is Ural. So that green box there, luckily for me, I'm quite familiar with the first lot of products on this slide. I'm less familiar with this last one, but if you're a lady, chances are you have struggled with a urine infection in your life before. And, our amazing honey, we have a 100% success rate on clearing UTIs within 12 hours and simply rubbing a tiny, tiny little bit of honey on the urethral opening, and it's shifted within 12 hours. We even have Ella from Maths. I can't remember Ella and Dom. Ella from Maths, she used our honey, and can't believe how amazing it is. So that's just a bit of an insight to put things into perspective to people. We are not your usual honey company. We are a company that is very, very excited about finding underserved markets that span many geographies that are trending and poised for large growth. So we're hoping that you guys can see the opportunity here. I thank everybody for keeping an open mind about the spaces we're going into. We have an exciting future ahead of us. So moving on. So our traction to date, I wouldn't mind qualifying something first, and I always use my mum as an example. My mum has never invested in a business in her life until I came along, and she is of the mindset that if your business is going so well, why are you trying to raise money? Because if your business was that good, shouldn't you be making your own money? So I know I just want to address that with first-time investors that may, be buying shares for the first time. When you're working with a startup, so like let's just think of these big boys, our big competitors with the deep pockets. They are very mature. They have very mature balance sheets. They've been generating revenue for many, many years, but they started with nothing once upon a time. So all companies must start with nothing. And really, at the end of the day, when a company starts and there are no financial figures because the company's just a baby. It's some companies are just an idea. You're essentially investing in that founding team. You're investing in the opportunity, and obviously you go and do your own due diligence about what is the opportunity and likelihood of success in this particular market. For a company like ours, we're very different to a tech company. A tech company, all you need is an internet connection, a garage, and a few people offshore to build you a minimum viable product. When you are dealing in manufacturing like us, it is around the other way. So when we had our early non-sustainable validation by putting honey in a jar, we knew that, okay, there is opportunity here for us. We need to build a warehouse. To give you all an idea, and I'll show you, I'll just do a little spin around the room shortly. We spent about $1.8 million just to build our warehouse alone here in Western Australia, so we could compete with the big boys. Now, a little company that has an idea and a little bit of early validation, we don't have the revenue nor the profits to be able to go and build a $1.8 million warehouse and get all the stock and do all your marketing and get your team. So companies like us, especially manufacturing, same with breweries, we need a lot of capex up front in order to get us competitive. So we are here today at our fourth raise, and I am super proud of it. I think, Em, we might be your first company that has come for fourth raise. And we are, look, we don't like to talk and make any forecasts here, but what I can say is we are not profitable yet. We still have a burn rate here, but we're very excited that we're trending in the right direction. And, we have some big opportunities at our feet. The reason we need to make capital is you investors are so important to us, especially our investors that have already invested and continue to follow on at each round, because you're investing in the vision, you're investing in the company that you first fell in love with, and ensuring that you come on and follow us through gives us the cash flow necessary so we can keep paying these people and making sure that we've got enough money in the bank to go and buy 1 million pouches, because Chemist Warehouse has said you've got a national supply gig. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening to that little explanation. Sorry if I'm preaching to the converted here, but I just thought that was a really important thing to qualify for new investors. This is a journey. This is not an overnight success, and we are looking for people to back us as we grow, so we can, get ourselves from the red to the black, which, like I said, we're trending in the right direction. Okay, so getting back to our traction today. I think it's really important to touch on that, our 2023, when we were here a year ago talking to you, what did we say we were going to do? So back then we said that we were going to do some research around women's health and the tinea space. Well, we did that, we smashed it. We now have a whole product range out there in market. And we have a lot of validation from, blew me away, Australian people, or the people that we couldn't sell to are the people now that have come streaming in. So that's fantastic. Another thing that we're super proud of is we obtained TGA approval for 8 of our honey products. So that's 4 honey varieties that is spread across 2 packaging types. That's where we get our 8 from. Now, to give you an idea, it took us a good 6 months to get the TGA approval. And for those of you that know me, you probably think I should work in homicide or, some kind of detective, discipline, because I don't stop. I'm literally, if I see a gap, I go that gap and I open that up like a tin can. I got told, you can't register honey for those benefits. You can't do this, you can't do that. And when someone tells me that I can't do something, well, that it doesn't go kindly with anybody. So I said, you watch me. I know that we can get this approved. I know that there is enough in vitro and in vivo research out there done by ourselves and also other people. And lo and behold, we have TGA approval now for 4 of our honey varieties. That is insane because there is no one currently on the TGA register that can say you can put honey into a vagina to help with excessive vaginal discharge. Now, when we look at just that one alone, that's 50% of the population have one of those things. And 1 in every 4 of those things has a problem. And our honey is something that can fix all of those people. And we can shout it from the rooftops now because we have TGA approval. So TGA approval really, look, I knew that we were onto something, but that TGA approval is so, so, so important because guess who's come knocking? We've got Chemist Warehouse are saying, we have nothing like this in our store. We are super excited and we're watching you very, very closely. I won't go into that too much, Em, because I don't want to speculate, but we are having some conversations with some very, very big brands because there ain't anything like us out there at the moment. We've had a big surge in sales. So in the last 12 months, our revenue from online sales alone grew from 45,000 to 355,000. So that's a massive backflip. Now, that means that our wholesale revenue has gone down, but our e-commerce revenue went up. And that was on the back of changing our marketing and our messaging and then moving to products that go on the outside of your body rather than being consumed and, into the belly. We have international pharmacy partners reordering. Got a bit of an issue there with them at the moment. So our big area, as our previous investors know, are the Middle East, and you can't talk about a plug. Oh, so I can't actually show you because I realize I'm sharing my screen. But in some of these new pouches, we have the word butt, we have the word vagina, we have the word butt plug. We have all of these terms that are just not fit for the Middle Eastern market. So we, even though we've changed our messaging and we're getting really good traction, they're quite jealous because their honeys aren't moving as fast on their shelves as what it's moving on our e-com store because they can't use that same similar marketing messages. So the reorder has been really slow wholesale in those countries, but we have another really good, exciting plan that I'll talk to you about down the track. Other traction we've had is table honey. So I know it's the poor cousin of the antibacterial stuff that we keep talking about. Look, we are a table honey company as well, but it's not our primary focus as a company. It's a low value like a revenue stream, but it is great for brand awareness. It is great for looking after our beekeepers because, as many people probably know, there is a lot of imported honey flooding our Australian supermarket shelves. And whilst it's great for a conservative shopper who just wants the cheapest thing that they can put their hands on, it is absolutely killing our beekeepers. So Stephen Fuster is the chairman of this company and one of the largest commercial beekeepers here. He has grown men ringing him, crying, because these big people will not buy their honey anymore here in Western Australia. Why? Because our big packers would prefer to go and buy it for $2 a kilo out of Turkey and India and so forth. So what's actually happening to our poor beekeepers here is due to greed and a few other reasons, our beautiful Australian honey is stockpiling in our beekeepers' sheds and causing a lot of pain. So for us to be able to turn our hand to some table honey, do some big deals here in Western Australia, to see, you know, up to 100 tons of imported honey kicked off the shelf to bring Australian honey, WA honey back into this state, is a big win for us. So it's not a big win financially for our company, but it's a big win for brand recognition. It's a win for the country. It's more messaging going out there to say, get that crap off our shelves and let's back Australian. It doesn't matter what state you're in, back local. Also, we've debuted on TikTok, so we had a really great uptake on TikTok. Our social media has also quadrupled since we were here last year, and like I said, we're not yet profitable, but our EBITDA is trending in the right direction. And that's what you want to see. Just a summary there, our revenues are doubling year on year and our costs are coming down. So look, you know, we still have more going out than we have coming in, but what we're seeing is that number is getting less and less each year. So we're hoping year 4 will be a great year for us. Okay. So our best-selling product in 2023 was this little baby here. This is our Black Butt TA35, and what you see in the background there is a vaginal applicator. This, I would say, it's got it there, is 80% of our total online sales. So we have tested, look, I wouldn't even say it's a mistake. We have done a lot of testing on our marketing and our advertising. We thought, look, my gut feeling was male, if you're a male, be open enough to accept this. I said to everyone in my team, even Stephen Fuster, who is a very manly man, I said, you just need to trust me here because this stuff, there is nothing for women to help them. This is going to be our biggest seller. So that was my gut feeling, but we spent a lot of money in advertising, making sure that we turned over every stone just to make sure. It could have been acne. It could have been, you know, jock itch. It could have been athlete's foot. But we did a lot of testing in advertising, and my assumption was absolutely 100% correct. 80% of our online sales was from vaginal health. We sold 4,000. It's actually 5,000. So we've sold 5,000. 4,000 of these jars were sold in the last 12 months. And this particular jar sells at a profit margin of 80% when we are selling online. Currently, you know, that looks great, but then I suppose a smart person would then say to me, well, Jay, what's your return on ad spend? So our ad spend is through the roof. Don't get me wrong, and we're working to be more efficient there. But you know, like we are achieving for what that jar costs us to what it actually retails for. There is a very healthy profit margin there. And if you want to compare that to table honey, we're running on about a 9% profit margin for our table honey. So you can see why I want to focus in this space, not table honey. So that's just a bit of insight around how the company is going and the data that we've been able to extract over the last 12 months. So our direction for 2022, and just as we smashed our 2023 targets, I hope to be sitting here with you all again in 2025 saying we smashed our 2024 ones as well. So our first, I suppose they're all of equal importance here. The first one is to expand the scope of our therapeutic treatment offerings to unlock greater possibilities. So in layman's terms, is to continue these very exciting discussions I'm having with major brands behind the scenes to get our products into market. Bit of an update on where things are at Chemist Warehouse. They've found us, not the other way around. They're very excited about what we're doing. They're not prepared to commit to ranging our products at the moment because they don't understand, they can't see yet how them as Chemist Warehouse could actually get around the marketing and the messaging of this, because it is cheeky, it is intimate. So they have said, we're watching you very closely and we want to revisit this very soon. We want to see how tongue-in-cheek and how cut through you go with your marketing. So watch this space, guys, in the next couple of months. There's going to be some really exciting things. Now, look, one of the other things, I had a meeting on Friday, is our Rio Tinto our Rio Tinto exploration. So 25% of everybody that is on a Rio Tinto site will have tinea on their feet from the heat, the sweat, and their work boots. So on every Rio Tinto site, there is a thing called a Blackwoods vending machine. And that vending machine, all the Rio Tinto people have full reign of that vending machine. They can buy whatever, they can take whatever they want out of it. They've just got a card. They don't pay for it. So those vending machines get stocked weekly. So they have things in it like headlamps, gloves, lip balm, sunscreen, electrolytes, whatever. And the guys can just go on and, press the button and get whatever they want. And then Blackwoods just come along and replenish it for Rio Tinto every Monday, let's say. So we've got interests from both Blackwoods and Rio Tinto. We're in the process of planning a trial to get these pouches, therapeutic pouches. Just one of our pouches, which is called the Ditch the Itch kit, which is for all itchy skin irritations. So sorry, all of my thing, I thought I closed that. So look there. So yeah, things like pharmacies, Coles, as I mentioned earlier, we're invited to the range review this month. They're looking at a national ranging of our products, catapulting us from aisle 3 in the breakfast aisle over to aisle 11 into the personal care aisle. Next direction, second direction will be to, I've already touched on that. So, which is the Rio, number 2. And number 3 is, this is an exciting one. And this is on the back of what I mentioned moments ago about things being quite slow in the Middle East. So here we are, we have a slow moving product in the Middle East because they can't talk about this goes in your vagina, or this goes on your testicles, or this goes down the eye of your penis to fix a urine infection. So they can't start talking about those intimate concerns because their culture doesn't allow it. Advertising bans you. So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And our exclusive agreement is up with, so for example, in the UAE, is up on the 31st of December this year. And we're not going to renew. And that's a bold statement, but that is because we know that we can do this better ourselves. And the way that we're going about it is so, and it might sound a little bit hokey, but hear me out and really give this some due consideration, is I would not do this in any other region, but I would do this in the Middle East. We are moving to a multi-level marketing approach in the Middle East to overcome these marketing constraints. What that is going to look like is we are organising now a major recruitment for sales consultants in the Middle East. So think Tupperware, think Avon. Think those, whether it's a Gypsy Loom party or a Lorraine Lee party, you can go to people's houses and have those parties, or you can do an online party and, invite your friends to come and, buy whatever it is from your online party. So what where we got the idea from this is one of our wholesale partners, he's based in Kuwait. He knew that they can't say these words. They can't say these things because it's hush hush. So he sent some scouts with products into hairdressers, hairdressing salons, nail salons, and he got these ladies talking about it. And then they started selling the products because ladies can say whatever they want to each other. They're just not allowed to be, outside of their home talking about these things. So what we're essentially doing is we're building a multi-level marketing arm of this business. So we're transitioning from wholesale, which is us just sending in bulk to a pharmacy and allowing them to handle the messaging. We are now transitioning to the multi-level marketing process, just like Tupperware, if we just call it the Tupperware model, where all of the orders are actually, because we actually can't get these particular products in and registered in their country because they contain words. The word "but" is not allowed. You're not allowed to sell plugs to go into intimate areas in those countries. So we will run it all from here on an e-commerce nature, but on a multi-level marketing arrangement. So that is something no other honey company that I'm aware of has done anything like that. But that's where I get to, when you invest in me and you invest in my team, you're investing in people that we are all about finding solutions to problems, not actually finding the problems so we can distance ourselves from them. Let's find those problems, let's find a workaround, and let's get to those customers that need the product. So that's a bit of a snapshot of where we're headed for 2024. Our new product line. So I'm just going to race through this because I can see Emily looking at me, probably saying, hurry up and finish. I just want to give you an idea of our products. This is just like a quick picture speak a million words. So on the left, instead of using, so this is like, we've actually got customers that show that instead of using Caniston cream in their vagina, they are using our Bee in the Bonnet kit, right? And that contains honey, sorbeline cream, some applicators, and a silicone plug to keep the honey in the vagina for 45 minutes. We have women saying it is the best thing that they have ever used for a number of conditions. Like I said, the honey in this particular pouch on the right, that is our bestseller. So, yeah, so look, I'm just going through a few. Oh, actually, don't worry, I'll talk about that after. So look, the female health sector has been reinvented. There is a lot of stuff on TikTok. Look, and we have TikTok. We have a lot to be thankful for with TikTok about the awareness it's created for some of these issues that we're dealing with. So look, like I said, 80% of our revenue, 20 to 30% of women will develop the issues that our honey fixes. And, 138 million women have these recurrent issues. So that's that one. This is how exciting. Instead of using urine sachets, which is just a powder that alkalizes the urine, so when it comes out, it doesn't sting. It doesn't actually fix the bacterial infection in their urinary tract, but it just takes the sting out of the wee. Instead of having a sachet, you can just drizzle a little bit of honey out of this Tinkle Tinkle Ouch kit. It literally has a little bit of honey on the tip of your finger, rubbed on, hips in the air for 12 hours, and bang, gone. So that's that one. I won't go through the stats. I know we're running short on time. Here we go. We've got our anusol. So my dad is a truckie, and I never really knew what this was for as a young kid, but but back when I was a kid, I recall it had orange on it. My dad loved that stuff. He put that from front to back because he always had a rash. He was a truckie. So he sat in damp, moist, sweaty conditions and quite regularly struggled with hemorrhoids and, other irritations. So very popular product. But to give you an idea about the competitive advantage, this anusol cream is the only product available in grocery stores to treat hemorrhoids or any kind of anal discomfort. So we don't have a lot of competition. Okay, and then we've got for athlete's foot, ringworm, jock itch, folliculitis, eczema, and dermatitis. So we have got a honey that is so effective for all of those things that I just read out. So instead of using an antifungal, this is a Schedule 2 medicine, and it looks very similar to the Caniston cream for vaginal use, but that's a Schedule 3. So it just means it's policed a lot harder. This Caniston cream, this honey over here, the Ditch the Itch kit, that is the pouch that we're talking to Rio Tinto about at the moment to get into those vending machines, because it covers all of those things up there, and it is super. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I'd have to say 98% success rate. It's fantastic, and it's natural. Okay, we have our acne, very, very popular. Not popular, very, very effective for acne, but it is an area we haven't spent a lot of time. We've done some testing with advertising, but it's not the biggest bang for our buck. And that is because it's a flooded market. Acne is an easy space to go into. You can just go, oh, that's a trending market. Let's just create more of the same crap and relabel it and put it in there and put some money behind marketing, and we'll make money. So we're actually in the space of, let's find those underserved markets where there are really no real alternatives, and let's own that space. So very, very effective for acne. Had a lot of reviews about how effective it is, but not a huge focus for us at this point in time, but it will be in the future. And we've also got the Buzz Off BO kit. So using that as a bit of a slave, like you just mix it 50-50 with some sorbeline cream or hair conditioner, whatever. It's just a carrier cream. Whack that under the armpits, 5 minutes, hop in the shower, wash it off. And you'll find that your deodorant, probably for the next 3 or 4 days, will go start to be more effective and have more longing effects, because the bacteria has been eaten away by the honey. And then also here, this is the Birth and the Bub kit. which, you know, will be popular. There's nothing like it other than the pawpaw cream and the pseudo cream in the supermarkets at the moment. And it literally is, you know, how many birthing mothers do we have every year? And we say, look, just get one of these and throw it in your hospital bag, ready for, you know, when the big day comes. You know, like they, you know, may not ever use it, but the birthing mothers, they spend, I mean, I had somebody spend $2,500 on a pram last week. And I'm thinking, well, you know, they're the ideal candidates that just want to make sure they're fully prepared, and to have products like this that are completely natural for baby and mum. You know, we thought that was a really effective idea. And I am at the end. So, yeah, what now, Em?
Brilliant.
Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to stop sharing?
Go for it so we can see your lovely face.
Okay. Okay, stop sharing. There we go. So the whole time, I kept forgetting that you can't see me. So I'm picking up products and I'm showing things.
You're fine. You absolutely can see you in the little square at the top. So you are good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you so much for showing everybody as well and sharing all of that. It was so interesting to understand the different channels that you're going through for your sales. It's super insightful to see the reach that Real Good Honey has. So for this, I know that you spoke about, sorry, what was that, Jay?
I was going to say, do you want me to go through any of these? Like, do you want me to like open a bag up? Do you think people would be interested to see? Okay, so I don't know if this is, can you see me? Can you see me? Okay. So I don't know if this is showing backwards, but this is the bee in the bonnet kit. Oh, as you can see, we've also been testing the gloss versus the matte. So this is the bee in the bonnet kit. So if a lady, this is honey to support the intimate health and wellness of a woman, fast release. And remember, we have TGA approval to say this, fast relief from symptoms of mild vaginitis, excessive discharge, and urinary tract discomfort. So you open this up, and if Coles take us on, they're going to be the first grocery store to be selling these. So, you know, you all probably say that you've never seen one of these things or don't know what it is, but this is a silicone device that goes into intimate areas. It's commonly known as a butt plug. So this particular pouch comes with a plug. Like I said, you can't find them in Woolies or Coles or Chemist Warehouse anywhere. It comes with 2 vaginal applicators that can be rewashed and reused. It comes with a real handy, you know, information sheet. And it comes with a range of sachets and also 1 sachet of sorbitol cream, but I realize that's not in there at the moment. So that is an example of a kit. That is our biggest kit. That is our most expensive kit. And that particular kit will retail, it'll retail for about, it depends. I don't have control over Coles and Woolies, but that will probably retail for about $15. So $15 is cheaper than going and buying a tube of Canesten cream, or, you know, going to the doctor and getting a dose of antibiotics for bacterial vaginosis. And you're getting one of these. You can't, like, you can go to an adult shop just to buy that alone. You're probably looking at $25. So I can see many of these going for Secret Santas. Our table honey, just so you know, we have our, this is for aisle 3 breakfast, and these are divine premium tasting honeys produced here in Western Australia. We don't have a national gig for them at the moment, but then again, haven't also been pushing it because it's a low value market. We've also introduced these, and it's the 1 kilo tubs that has taken us from 7 ton output per year up to 60 ton minimum, but it's more likely going to be 100 ton throughput for the table honey. And these here, this is our biggest seller. So this is what we had and what we were selling before we moved to these pouches. And I'm not sure if you can see behind me there, you'll see there's some pouches, and in the background, you'll see our jars. So that's where we stand when we pack our e-commerce orders. So everything's just at our fingertips. But this particular jar, and so what we will eventually do is we'll start taking the heat off of this for use for topical reasons, and we'll push all topical marketing towards the pouches, and this stays as our edible active range. So that's just a view on Yeah, so like these pouches here, people might say, why do you need to raise capital again? Shouldn't you be profitable by now? Blah, blah, blah. The thing is, it takes a lot of shuffling around and a lot of testing and validating certain things. The amount of startups that have just nailed it first up, like I don't know anyone that's done that. Look, we've taken some wrong turns. We've got some awesome validation. We have got amazing product market fit now. But to give you an idea, if someone like Chemist Warehouse takes us on, in here is like 20 or 30 pouches all in a Lucky band. If we're going to need 1 million of these, and when these cost us 20 cents each, there's $200,000 in just these, not to mention all of the applicators and getting something like 100,000 of these babies. So the problem that a startup like us has is, I don't even know if you can call us a startup anymore, a junior business, is opportunities are great. Like, yeah, we can spruik and say, oh my God, like we got Chemist Warehouse. But what happens if we don't have the money to be able to buy all of this? Because you've got to buy all of this before you get paid for your first order. So that's why we're here, guys. That's why we're raising money. We've got these opportunities at our feet now. We've validated, we've tested, we've got samples, we've got minimum viable product. We have people knocking at our door saying, oh, this is interesting. But we need to get ourselves to a position. We need to build cash into our balance sheet. We need to be there so we can say, yes, we can service your 500 stores, Chemist Warehouse. Or, I mean, God help us if we get Coles and Chemist Warehouse. We don't have them now, but, if we're successful in our meetings, that's a lot of stuff. So that's why we need your help. And anyway, over to you, Em.
No, I think you'll find that that's a really common reason for companies, particularly product-based companies who are raising capital, is it's to fulfill orders, because you have to fulfill the order, a purchase order, before you get paid for it. And yeah, it's really tricky to do that without some capital behind you. So this is super common. And if you are familiar with investing through equity crowdfunding, anybody who's listening today, you might have seen that in the use of funds in the offer documents that you've viewed. So we've got a few questions from people who've been watching the webinar today. So obviously these are really ambitious expansion plans. How can you guarantee honey supply?
So the honey supply, I'm headed to Brisbane, the East Coast, and I'm going to be spending some time over there to start. So we've got microbiologists that work in the honey space over on the East Coast. I don't know. I don't know for certain because I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I have got it on very good information that West Australia is not the only state that has amazing, very high, high concentration hydrogen peroxide honeys in the country. So I'll be heading over in about 3 weeks to start talking to microbiologists and scientists and key stakeholders in the industry. Well, we've actually already started to find those additional supplies. So we know, like we get a few random questions from people going, like, because they're all trying to find out. Well, because I think they all want to start trying to do what we're doing, and they're trying to find out, well, what exactly goes in that and what are you doing to that? Because they see it as a huge market. So we know what honey is, and it's not just black butt. We know that there's other ones. We know which ones can go where and why, and we're not telling anyone that, but we know what we're looking for. So we're heading over to find other large suppliers of these particular characteristics in honeys. But I know with the amount of honey that we're producing, like we're not going to have an issue with supply. And for to give you an idea, this particular sachet, so the Tinkle Tinkle Ouch kit that is coming out, which is purely to address urine infections. This particular, it will have 3 of these in there. So that's 30 grams of honey. So that 30 grams of honey will probably retail on the shelf for, I don't know, $11 or something like that, which is still cheaper than antibiotics to clear the infection. But really, they could clear it with just a quarter of one of these sachets, and they'll have those sachets in their cupboard forever. So a little bit goes a long way with these infections. So, and the other thing, while I'm holding this sachet, that is a really crucial thing, I'm talking about building cash into our balance sheet so we can buy more, more inventory. But the other really important part is hopefully we go well in this race, because we need to upgrade our machines. And the reason why, I'll tell you what women are doing. They're getting these sachets, they're ripping the top off, then they're getting one of these applicators, and they're pushing the honey down so it's all like pooling in the bottom. And then they've got to stick that in, and then they've got to slowly try and plunge that honey really slowly so they get every little bit in there so they get a full syringe. It's not user-friendly, but they persevere with it because it's so bloody great. So we are looking at a upgrade to us, which is what was in our pitch video, is an upgrade to a small section of our line, which will mean we no longer pack in these sachets for medical purposes. They go straight into a tube. So for the women on this call, you most are probably familiar with the screw-on applicator that goes onto a Caniston, a thrush cream tube. It literally screws on, you squeeze the tube, and it, plunges the honey itself. So we're looking at upgrading to be able to get to those cosmetic tubes. So it'll be like a little 15-gram tube or a 30-gram tube of honey and sorbeline. So we will do away with these. If we have a disappointing outcome with this race, and the money just isn't out there for what we need, then we have no choice but to persevere with these sachets and, whatever, and work towards that in the future.
So speaking of packaging, and I know you're saying they're not the most perfect packaging for the product and for what you need them to do, are they sustainable?
The packaging meaning this?
I guess so, yeah.
So all wrappers are not, if we could do away with this, we would, because this is just, it's too little. Like when there's recyclability, there's size limits. But we're encouraged from a sustainability point of view to avoid these wrappers at any cost. But it's like, it's a hard one, right? Because we're in the portion size industry. And you look at service stations. So you go and buy a thing of sauce. Like you can't get away a 50-cent sauce for your pie. There's certain things that you can't do away with the single, wrapper. We've got people that go and buy these big jars, but the thing is they've got to pay $75 for this jar, or, they can get this for a fraction of the price, and that's really all they need. So that's where we're kind of stuck, is perfect sizing for what they need, but it kind of annoys consumers because it's just fiddly. It's fiddly to fill their syringe. It's quite good for people with skin infections. They just cut the corner, like a little tiny corner, like a piping bag, squeeze it on the back of their hand the size of a pea, put some cream the size of a pea, mix it together, and bang, put it wherever they need it. But for the vaginal and rectum side of things, not sustainable. We'll live with it, but ideally we want to get to something user-friendly.
Great, good to know. And what's the shelf life on these products at the moment?
So the honey never expires. We are very, very careful about which honeys go into which condition, because we do know, and we have been monitoring the reduction of hydrogen peroxide producing enzymes in the honey over time. So we do know that there's a deterioration, but we've got such a significant buffer with what we choose to put for which condition that that's already considered. In terms of its spoil life, the honey doesn't expire, but we do, for the purposes of Coles and Woolies, where for their point of sale systems, they actually need a manufacturing date and a best before date, because otherwise the product can't get set up. So in those situations, we put 5 years on it, which is, quite a long one. But yeah, it would last 2,000 years if you need it to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that honey was, say, natural preservative, right?
Correct.
Yeah, amazing.
It is until you get too much moisture in it. So, like, for example, I've got horse trainers that say, I just go and get a squeezy bottle of any honey and put it on there, which is, and like they say, it keeps the germs out, which it does. But when you put a table honey onto a wound that has a lot of exude, so most honeys will, or you're a horsey person, so I think you're a horsey person. So most honeys will trigger rapid tissue repair. Honey is great. Any honey, as long as it's real honey, most honeys are great. And But you can go and put table honey, get a squeezy bottle, get one of these and put honey, pack that into your horse's wound that they've ripped their leg open on a barbed wire fence. Pack that in, put a bandage on, and happy days. The problem is with these honeys, they don't have any antibacterial and antifungal properties to them. So what happens is that honey, as long as you keep it undiluted, that honey will do good for your horse. But if that horse's exude, if it's producing a lot of pus and watery, yucky stuff, what that does is it mixes with the honey, it dilutes it, and then that honey does not become the barrier it needs to be because it gets too diluted and becomes a food source for germs. So it becomes the opposite. But on really dry wounds, any honey is better than no honey. It's just that the medicinal honeys have that extra benefit, especially our higher percentage ones. So we're producing honeys with 70% plus over here, and what that means is it can handle a lot of exude or a lot of saliva or a lot of something, so meaning it can still work and be strong even when it's diluted significantly because it was so strong to begin with.
Sounds like another marketing channel that you could be going down is animals.
Well, one of our major investors, he is a Group 1 racehorse owner, and so he has a lot of horses, and he, that's one of the things that we have been heavily talking about is, in that veterinary care space. And Manuka is already there, but Manuka is no good. As you would know, horses are prone to ringworm infections, and Manuka is no good for it. So, because it has no hydrogen peroxide. So there is a huge market there, but as we all know, hey, look, we've got a brand new SKU. SKUs then need marketing. Marketing needs advertising, and advertising costs money. So when you're a company that is, still fighting to be profitable and, trying to be innovative, we don't have that spare capital to say, well, now let's take on another direction. But it is absolutely 2000% a great place to go.
Yeah, brilliant. So I know you were talking about the 85% profit margin on the jars of honey before. Is that profit rate on the gross profit or net profit?
When you say gross profit or net profit, are they asking in terms of what our financials are at the end of the year? Like, are we net profit? Because
after the cost of goods.
After the cost of the goods, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's after the honey, that's after the jar, that's after the wages to pack it. But that does not include the advertising. So your cost of goods is different to your return on ad spend. So like your advertising budget, that's not considered in the same thing. So yes, it is net after all the costs. That's an 85% profit margin. But then you could say, oh, well, you must be a profitable company. But when you've got to take on all the overheads, so like our rent in this warehouse is about $10,500 a month with outgoings. Then you've got salaries, which are very low, but you have all of the other costs that go with that. Advertising, I think we spent, we were probably near on $500,000 in advertising. So when you start to look at those large investments coming in, you can have a product that returns you a net profit of 85%. But if you only sell one of them a year, but you've spent $400,000 on your marketing, you do the maths. So we still need to reach economy of scales. We need to get the cost of our advertising down. We are taking the advertising in-house now, which is going to save us approximately $10,000 a month as well. So we're starting to we're trimming the fat. We're starting to, iron out or extract some of the redundancies in the processing side of things, and starting to move away from an on-demand, more expensive agency type of support to starting to take some juniors in-house to, I suppose, try and sort of make our money go a bit further now that we're developed and have that validation.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much for explaining. And just for those who may not be familiar with the difference between gross profit versus net profit. So gross profit is revenue without subtracting any manufacturing or production expenses, whilst net profit is your gross profit minus the cost of any business operations or, advertising operations such as that. But great question, guys. Next week when your offer goes live, what will the minimum investment be?
I think last year, this has just been completely candid. We tried to do a right thing because we knew that we were onto something like really fantastic for women. We came in, I think it was at like a minimum of $50, and that just didn't really perform very well for us. Like it didn't have the result I thought it was going to have. So we will go back to what we've always done, which is that $250. That's always been the most successful space for us to hang out with. So yeah, at this stage, I'm 98% confident it'll be $250.
Beautiful. To be honest, it is the most common minimum investment
Oh,
virtual
yeah,
platform.
it just works. Well, and I think too, look, one of the great things is money is so hard to come by nowadays. Like even myself personally, like everyone I talk to, as I said, the cost of kids' sport, the cost of food. I used to love the 99 cents half price chocolates at Woolworths, and now even half price has gone up to 125. And I'm like, well, I'm not buying you anymore. Everything is getting expensive, so we get that. And $250 is a lot of money to try and find when you are watching everything that's coming in and out of your bank account. But the beautiful thing about this EOI is if you place your offer. So when we open, I thought it was Tuesday, but it's Wednesday because they've got a public holiday. We open next Wednesday. If you get in and you buy your shares, well, make an offer to buy your shares, you don't have to pay for them until after the offer closes. So you've got another 3 weeks or something like that before you need to arrange payment. I think that's how it works. But if you get in on that day one, it's like lay buying things. So, but if you get in on day 2 or 3 or whatever, they pretty much take the money a lot quicker after your cooling off period.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind.
What you're describing is our delayed payment term. So essentially, if you've expressed interest in a company before their offer phase, so during their expression of interest phase, which Jay currently has open, you do get access to the delayed payment option. So it does mean you don't have to submit your payment until the end of the offer. So for this offer in particular, the dates are next Wednesday, we'll go live with the offer. So that's Wednesday, the 13th of March, and then it will close on the 28th of March. So if you do get in early during the priority access period, which is the first 2 days, you will have access to the delayed payment option. No, hopefully that clarifies it. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. So are you offering investor rewards for this offer, Jay?
We have been told that we don't have to, but we've never not. So what we're looking at is we have so many different products, and I mean, previously we've done t-shirts, we've done a range of different, t-shirts, we've done jumpers, we've done hoodies, we've done honey. But the honey seemed to be the one that everyone loved the most. So what we're looking at doing is more than likely just offering a voucher of different varying size to our store. And we thought, oh, maybe we'll send, everyone one thing. But our range has grown to 27 SKUs now. So it's hard for me to pick, well, do I send everyone a Ditch the Itch kit? So it's easier for us to say, hey, you're going to get a voucher as part of your investment for you to do what you want with and choose what is suitable for you. That's what we're looking at the moment.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, the way you've spoken about the products is that they're accessible to so many different people with a variety of ailments, and to be able to get the offer and get rewards that specifically relate to an issue that you might be experiencing is really valuable. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have my in my gut, I know which one's going to be the biggest seller, but we'll see if I'm right again.
Love it. We've gone a little bit over today, but that's absolutely fine. For anybody who might have missed the start, the middle, anywhere, I will be sending around a recording afterwards. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And thank you so much, Jay, for your time. It's been great to have you again. I know that you are virtual royalty, always coming back. We love it. So thank you so much, and hope to see you soon, everybody.
Thanks everyone for your time. And if you have any questions, just send them to us. I'm sure there's an avenue on the platform. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Just, yeah, happy to have you here, and thank you for giving us your time today.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.